Alright, so in this video we're going to cover how to take down and clean standard Remington 700 bolt. It's a pretty popular action that most guys are shooting. So we need a couple of tools to accomplish this. First is a firing pin removal tool. Just pretty simple. I got both of these tools from Brown Owls. I don't recall the cost, but it wasn't a whole lot. But basically all we're going to do is slide this over here, like so. All right, you got the, so I'll slide this on, and then you just screw this, and then I don't know if you can see there, as we tighten this, it's going to pull that, and then we can just unscrew this, and this will pull the firing pin assembly out of the bolt body. There we go. And then in order to get the firing pin spring off, we need a Remington mainspring removal tool. Looks like this. Geez, I need to do something about this camera. Sorry, guys. So, just screw this under here. And then we'll unscrew this. And take this off. There we go. And then to get the firing pin out, we simply crank down on here. And you'll see that's going to push the cocking piece out the back of the shroud. And basically we want to push this far enough out that we can get at the roll pin that's in there holding everything together. And then we just take a punch and push that out. There we go. I've had mine apart a bunch of times already, so mine comes apart fairly easily. If this is your first time, you might actually have to use a mallet with that punch then. But and then we simply unscrew this to relieve the pressure on the mainspring. Okay, and then unscrew the bolt shroud. And there we go. So there's all the pieces for our Remington 700 firing pin assembly. So we'll just go ahead and get some solvent and a patch, and we'll wipe all that stuff down. And for those of you wondering why you might want to do this, I'm sure you guys that shoot quite a bit in Oklahoma or Texas probably know this already, or even Nebraska. But all that dust and dirt and grime, I mean, look at how filthy that firing pin is. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's pretty dirty. And all that stuff builds up in there and creates friction. Look at that. And that'll slow your firing pin down. If there's too much of that stuff built up in there, it'll actually slow the firing pin down, and you won't make solid contact with your primer, and you'll start to get light strikes. And nobody wants that, especially during a match, right? So just take the time, take this stuff down, especially after you shot in really dirty conditions. Up here, you know, shooting Iowa and Illinois, South Dakota, you know, you shoot once the crops come out, and it's essentially just a real barren landscape, so that the wind whips through it and blows up all kinds of dirt and debris, and it blows all up into your action. You know, well, your bolt assembly and your firing pin assembly is not immune from that. You know, you'll get all that dust and crap and everything all built up in there, and you want to just clean that stuff out good, make sure that all that stuff is out of there. Look at that. Kind of turned like a, I don't know, pink mayonnaise kind of color. The grease I use is normally red, so that's why it's got that little bit of pink in there. But yeah, we want to get all that nasty stuff out of there. Get this cleaned up real nice. Get another patch here. And just use whatever kind of solvent you like. I use the stuff that's on sale at the local fleet store for a couple bucks. Melissa's probably mad that I don't use Hoppies, but I don't know. I grew up with the smell of this stuff, so to me, it's I equate this with firearms. Get all that old grease out of there. Any of the debris that it might be holding. There we go. Wipe down the cocking piece real good. And there we go. We got all that stuff nice and clean. So we'll take this and we'll put our firing pin spring back on there. Slide this back in here. Put our bolt shroud back on. Screw that in there all the way. And then we'll just tighten this up until the firing pin sticks out of the back far enough to get that cocking piece on. Alright, so one little trick here, if you can see that cocking piece isn't, or that the hole for the cocking piece isn't aligned quite correctly. Oh, actually it is. Look at that. I got kind of lucky. But if it's not, you can just, you know, give a turn on here and it'll move that for you just a little. But so we'll put our pin back in. No, it's not aligned quite right, so I'll just take the punch and there we go. So you can see that there. There we go. And then we'll just put that pin back in. And this usually needs a tap or two, nothing major. Yeah. No, that came misaligned. Look at that. There we go. Perfect. Make sure that's not high a little. Yep. And then we'll just unscrew this. we go. And put this back on. There we go. And then we'll clean out the threads in the bolt body. That looks pretty good. And you can clean out the bolt body with a dental pick with a patch on it or something like that, but just for the purposes of this video, we're already going pretty long. I'm not gonna go through all that trouble. So you just take a little bit of grease and tiny bit of grease on the cocking piece. And then I'm going to grease up these threads real good. And for this I just use Slide Glide. Works just fine. And we go ahead and slide this back in. Screw it back together again. Tighten this up a little. There we go. There you go. Make sure that's aligned there. If you guys can see that, there's a little notch in the bolt body. Make sure that's aligned. And then unscrew this. And there you go. Back together again. Ready to go. Wipe down the outside of the bolt body. Make sure you got the bolt face and lugs and everything all nice and clean. And you're finished. Sorry the video was a little bit long, but hopefully you guys learned how to do this yourself. And again, these tools are available. Like I said, I think I got these from Brownells, but you can get them just about anywhere. There's a mainspring removal tool. Whole thing looks like this here. Just kind of a hollow tube threaded on one end. You put the firing pin in here. Crank this down. There's a hole cut in here in this bolt, so the firing pin goes in there. Yep, just like that. And then this is a firing pin removal tool. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I got them both from Brownells, but they're not a whole lot of money. If I had to guess, this is maybe 40 bucks. This mainspring removal tool and the firing pin removal tool is maybe 30 bucks. You know, there's a bunch of other ways to get the firing pin out of there. You know, some guys will use a shoelace or on the edge of a bench or all sorts of stuff. But I just prefer using the tool. It's inexpensive, works very well, and that way, you know, you're sure you're not going to slip or break anything. But enjoy. Keep your weapons clean.